Heal so you don't settle. Let's really talk about it. So, this is one of my favorite subjects because I can actually talk from experience, ladies and ebonies. When I'm talking to you, I'm talking from experience here. So, I can honestly say to you that my healing journey has started quite late compared to the fact that, or in comparison to the fact that I've actually gone through quite a few toxic relationships when I was in my 20s and early 30s. So my healing journey has started now, I would say, where I've become really focused and intentional on it in my late 30s. But honestly, if I'm being really honest, if I had done the work that I'm doing now in my 20s, I would have avoided so many toxic relationships or even toxic situationships that I've been in the past. And like I said in my last video, changing your mindset doesn't have to be a long drawn out thing. Like you can literally change your mindset within a month, within 30 days, if you become really intentional about it. And once you become really intentional about it, your actions are going to start adjusting to the way that you're thinking about yourself. So your self concept has gone up so much and it's going to improve so much that your body almost, or even your mind, doesn't have any other option but to follow through with the direction of the new thoughts that you've been training your mind with. So it makes me realize that, wow, for such a long time, I must have unconsciously had thoughts that were so low that I was able to settle for certain relationships that I now look back on literally right now. And within the last year, 2 years, I look back on and I think to myself, wow, if I had a better self concept when I was 25, 26, 27, I never would have settled with that person. I would have never settled. And when I mean settle, because I'm not talking about, you don't have to settle with someone in terms of being in a committed relationship. I know that there's lots of women that have also settled for men and they're not necessarily in a relationship with them, but they are in a situationship with them and they've settled for that. And that is what I'm also referring to. And in those types of situations, you've settled for crummy behavior from a guy, someone that will call you when they want to call you, message you when they want to message you, see you when they want to see you. So everything is on their terms. And then you'll probably get a bit of ghosting going on. You'll have some feelings of feeling confused because you just don't know where you stand with this person. And it ultimately that will affect your confidence, that is going to affect your self-esteem. But because that person over time, and especially if you've become intimate with that person, you've adjusted to the way that they're treating you, and now you're willing to accept the bare minimum from that person because the feelings have come into play. So you were probably your most confident when you met this person right at the beginning, but as time has gone on, they have almost, you've put them on such a pedestal that they've been able to manipulate you and ultimately control you through the fact that they know that you like them so much and you have put them on a pedestal, which has then made you drop your guard and has made you drop your standards. And a funny thing about it is that there's been people that I've dated in the past, and when I've gone out with them, like my friends would be like, I never imagined you being with someone like this. And it's not to say that that person was really unattractive, but sometimes it could just be down to the way someone dresses. Or, in my 20s and my 30s, I was really, really particular about how I dress when I go out. I always like to look nice. I always like to have new clothes. Like I really invested a lot in myself. Um, and then sometimes I would date people who didn't. And it's not to say they were dirty and they were like the bare kind of, no, I can't date someone that's dirty. But just in terms of the way they presented themselves, they just wasn't presenting as the type of person that my friends envisioned me to be with. And it really made me think, wow, looking back, they were probably right in that sense. Um, but I was just willing to accept it because I really found that person attractive in terms of like how their face, their features. And like I said, you get intimate with someone, and that's when majority of women, or from friends that I've had in the past, majority of women will fall for someone when they become intimate with them and do it over and over and over again with that one guy. You literally fall for that person. But then by the time you fall in for that person 6 months in, 7 months in, that person has got so used to offering you the bare minimum that they don't feel the need to offer you anything other than that. So now you're pushing against something and trying to get something from someone who feels like they don't need to provide you with any more sense of commitment because you've accepted the standard that they've given you from day dot, from day one. And it really made me think, wow, looking back, if I had healed whatever was going on with me then, there's no way that this person would have got past me talking to them for longer than probably a week, because I would have been able to spot the red flags straight away. And that person, like, my block game has always been quite good. My cut-off game is always quite good, actually. But I would have done that back then. And a lot of situations that unfolded with those people would never have happened because my self concept would have been too high for them to even mess with me. You know, I would never give them the time of day or the attention that they're craving from me for them to be able to then do something bad to me further down the line. And I know a lot of women go through this, and a lot of it is down to healing. A lot of it is down to the fact that we as women do accept low standards from men and crummy behaviors from men. You know, we accept men coming in and out of our life without the commitment. We accept that. We accept the fact that a man might cheat on us, and we take them back and back and back and back, and they keep doing it and never have changed. We accept it. And this is also about decentering men. So by healing, you're decentering a man from your life, and you're basically putting yourself at the center so that you can have a better future. So this takes work. I'm not going to say that, you know, it's easy to do, especially if it's something that you've been almost doing unconsciously, maybe even going back further from when you were a teenager for some ladies. But this is something that you have to change. If you don't heal, and I'm not talking about deep healing for years and years and years, but I'm talking about start the process of healing. If you don't start the process of healing, then you are settling for things that are no longer needed in your life. You're settling for the bare minimum. And for myself, even, I can say that now my standards are higher, but not in a sense of me thinking that I'm bigger, badder, better than anybody else. No, it's just my standards for myself in terms of what do I want out of my life? What type of interactions do I want with other people? You know, that can not even just relationship wise, but friendship wise, that can even be family wise. Like, what type of behaviors from my family am I willing to accept and not accept? Because trust me and believe me, even family members can be toxic. And that again is something that's going to drag you back down. That's going to make you feel insecure. That could potentially make you feel low in mood, depressed. So it's about setting a standard for myself in all types of relationships. I think I've seen posts online where Gen Z they're saying that Gen Z are going no contact with their mum or going no contact with their dad. And it seems to be quite a new thing. But I think it's just about people being aware of standards now, and behaviors that we're willing to accept, because we know that we are living in such a toxic world, and we don't have to accept that. You as ladies, as women, as ebonies, you do not have to accept the bare minimum just to feel like you are being loved. I always feel like you have to start with yourself. You have to start loving yourself. You have to start healing from whatever it is that has potentially damaged you going way back. And obviously, this can go back to childhood as well. And I do understand that. And it's not an easy process, but even by just starting to get to the point where you're willing to do the work, even just for 30 days, once you get through 30 days, after that, it just becomes easier. It becomes routine. You start to realize and recognize the things that you have accepted in the past. And I'll give you examples. I've accepted ghosting. I've accepted booty calls in the past. I've accepted all that kind of stuff. And there's nothing but drama that comes with it. And yes, times can be exciting. There's probably moments where that guy is really giving you so much attention and taking you out and this spending whatever on you. But ultimately, if you are not getting what you want from that and you leave a few days later having been around that person and you feel low and you feel depressed and you feel even more insecure, then ask yourself, is it really worth it? And I know 100% that the answer will be no, it is not worth it. So I want to save you guys, my ebonies. I want to save you from that pain. I want to save you from going through something like that again, when really, ultimately, the answer is heal, and you will never have to settle for a situation like that again. Because, like I said before, you'll be able to spot the signs, you'll be able to spot the behaviors that are toxic. You'll be able to spot the red flags from somebody so much faster, because you'll know, this is what so and so did, and this is what happened afterwards, and this is, how we ended, or what we went through because of those behaviors that this person is showing you now. And I know that it can feel hard. It can feel really hard to cut people off, but really, once you heal, the only other option they have is to either meet you at your new version or get lost, basically. They have no other version. There's just two options. They either begin to show up as their best version, as their best self, or they get lost, and they'll get tired anyways of dealing with you, because they won't know how to deal with you, because they're not used to this new version of yourself. They're not used to this self-confident woman. They're not used to it. So what they will do is they'll go and run to somebody whose concept of themselves is lower than you. But then from that point, I always say to myself, it's okay. It's okay if somebody goes away from your life and you think, oh, they're moving on. Yeah, they might be moving on, but they're moving on to somebody who has a very low self-concept themselves. Trust me, they won't be moving on to a woman that is better mentally than you if that guy has not even done the healing himself. So a lot of this, and it relates, healing is a worldwide thing. It's not just gender based to women, it's for both genders, men and women. So when people want to spin the block and they want to go back to their ex, it's like, well, if you've done the work to heal and then you want to entertain a relationship with your ex, has your ex done the healing? And if that answer is no, and you can clearly see that he has not changed, and he will show you that very quickly, by the way, he'll show you that within weeks, whether he's changed or not. If he's not done that work to change, if you entertain him again, you are going back into a relationship with a person who is going to give you the same of what he gave you before, with a little bit more. And maybe not even a little bit more, a lot more of stress, of insecurity, of doubt, of fear. And you don't want that for yourself. So whilst you're healing, don't let these people back in to your life unless you know that they have done the healing too. It's really, really important, ladies. Like, I can't stress that enough. Do not let these men, or anyone actually, back into your life unless you know that they have done the healing too. Otherwise, you are going to go back to trauma. You're going to re-hurt yourself. And then when you come out of that situation, you're going to find it 10 times harder to then heal. And it's going to feel like you need to put 10 times more effort in your healing journey. So I'm at that point where I don't have the energy for it. My healing journey has taken my energy, and in a good way. And I am not prepared to let somebody come into my life to undo the work that I have put into myself to get to this point. And I want my ladies, my ebonies, I want you to have the same type of mindset. It's not about man bashing. It's not about putting men down and thinking that all men are the same. No, not all men are the same. If you start your healing journey, you will attract someone who is going to meet you at that same level. So it's always going to be worth it, and it's always going to be in your favor to start your healing journey, to heal, and to never settle. Never let people back into your life who have damaged you before. And if you need any more help with that, check out my scripting tools, check out my affirmations that are really going to help you, ebonies. My ebonies is going to help you to embody the best version of yourself.